Microphone test. Microphone test 2. Right, hey casuals! To Noobcake here, and we are back with another episode of Final Fantasy XIV Stories of the Realm, the Sidequest series that I've been doing for Endwalker. As you can see, today we're in Elpis, and I got my glam all ready for the place. So I look like an ancient, so I fit in. I figured I would go to the full length and try to do that. Hello, Garrett. We have a lot of quests today. This may be one of my longest streams, making up for the fact that the Malementorum stream is a very short one. I currently checked the amount of quests there are on the map before I even got started, and there are 40, and that is without including quest chains. So we have a lot to do. I may be taking breaks. This is the map currently. So what I'm probably going to do is do this area first, then this area, and then this area with some coffee breaks in between, because we're looking forward to that. Not being a spy. Okay. Whatever. Slandy, you strange person. But yeah, so Elpis today, lots of side quests. Yeah, we have a good time. And as you can see, I'm not dressed like a tramp today, although I need a shave both here, here, and here. So we'll I still look a little bit like a tramp. However, we're just going to get right into it. I've set my mount as this for today, rather than using roulette. We're going to use this because it goes with the outfit that I'm using, and we're playing warrior. I went and literally got Pajali Axe just for this, so. Azem, what in blazes are you doing here? Hold on, you seem thinner somehow. You have much in common with her, but it's clear you're not one of us. A familiar, perhaps? I suppose it's just like her to send one of her minions to poke its nose into our affairs, but since you're here, instead of hanging around like a bad smell, why don't you make yourself useful? I want you to take this latest work of mine, a new variety of fruit, to my colleagues. In the meantime, I will be cultivating more specimens in the Chthonic horns. Yes, you heard that correctly. Cultivating, not simply conjuring with creation magics. Aye, the fruit I produce is a labour of love. Now that my newest masterpiece is close to completion, I would have my fellow researchers sample its delight. I wish to hear their impressions before I make the final adjustments. Unfortunately, for all their wisdom, I find them intolerable at the best of times. Never mind when they are critiquing my work. For that reason, I would have you go in my stead, and be quick about it, lest the fruit spoil as a result of your dawdling. We have so many quests here. Are you lost, little familiar? How is my mic sounding? Is it all clear? For me, why yes, I should love to try a piece. I don't mean to be rude, but this falls somewhere between rather foul and positively revolting. It's so bitter, it's practically inedible. More importantly, however, the question of whether this fruit would serve its intended function. If wild animals cannot bring themselves to eat it, the seed will never be spread. I can't imagine this creation being approved in its current state. Nay? Oh, it's a little baby unicorn. You wish to speak with me? My impressions? Very well. Good gracious, what is this? It's so outrageously bitter, something akin to a wave of icy cold has spread throughout my entire body. I certainly wouldn't eat this out of choice, but it could be made into medicine for staving off the heat in arid environments. One sec, I've put my drinks down, I don't know where I've put them. And I certainly can't stream without a drink. 1 and 2. Sorry if you got a view of my belly there. Now remember, people, if you have channel points, you're welcome to use them throughout the stream. Which reminds me, let's some of my chocobo. Ah shit, that's the wrong fucking mount. Right. Fuck off, stream elements. You are the familiar who arrived with Emmett Selk and Hyphlodeus, yes? And what do we have here? I just realised my chocobo kind of ruins the vibe. A new species of fruit, eh? Let's hope it tastes better than it looks. My word, what an unusual flavour. Equal parts bitter, musty and tart, and not entirely unpleasant. I'm curious to know how such a thing was created. Grown from seed in the chthonic horns, you say? In my experience, leaving such a thing to nature leads to wildly varying results. To have bred such a specimen must be incredibly time-consuming, not to mention inefficient. Right, go away, chocobo, you're ruining the vibe. I'll level you up at another point. I think it's been reset, so I can probably do that with ease. Yeah. You are returned, minus 3 fruit samples, I presume. Is that so? Not one of them found it to their liking. They claimed my last attempt was too sweet, and now it's too bitter. Honestly, the nerve of these so-called experts. As they shall soon learn, I am not so easily deterred. For my next creation, I'll cross-pollinate sour and sweet varieties and see what they have to say about that. I'll show them it's these wildly varying results that come from adherence to natural processes that have the power to defy expectations. And as the familiar of Adam herself, I'm sure you can appreciate that. Sorry, I've got a really bad nose at the moment. Struggling to breathe. Oh, so much to do, so little time. Ah, a volunteer. How would you like to earn the respect and gratitude of Elpis' most gifted researcher? I require assistance in gathering eggs. A simple task, really. Egg gathering? The very reason I came here. Excellent. Why, I sense your social standing rising even as we speak. To business then. I seek Daedalon eggs. Daedalion eggs. that I may ascertain their ability to produce and raise offspring. One somewhat disconcerting trait of these winged wonders is their proclivity for laying eggs here, there, and everywhere. That is the reason why I am finding it rather difficult to keep track of the damnable things. I have neither the time nor inclination to go chasing after them myself, but I'm sure you don't mind if the parents take offence at you pinching their eggs. You have my permission to slay them if need be. I was just thinking of something and I've completely forgotten what it was that I was thinking of. Happens a lot to me, that. I really love this area. Oh, almost went past. Is my lighting all okay, by the way, anyone watching? Please let me know if it is not. But please let me know if it is okay. Just talk in general. You've discovered a Dylon egg, deliver it. Aha! And now I am become deaf. Can I actually get rid of that? Yes I can, interesting. I was actually surprised there wasn't any quests over here. Or up here. At least to pick up. I assume you haven't returned empty-handed. Splendid, I now have ample evidence that the Diadalian are breeding as expected. Then all we need to do is wait for the concept to be officially approved. But wait, if even a mediocre familiar such as you can steal their eggs, how are they supposed to propagate in the wild? No, this will never do. We shall have to find a way to improve their natural defences against such threats. 2 heads perhaps? Fire breath? Cover their eggs in spikes? That might make them rather tricky to lay. Well, it's certainly given me food for thought. I shall have to discuss this with the others. Oh, are you still here? I suppose a word of thanks is in order. Thanks. There, satisfied? What a dick. I don't know whose familiar you are, but won't you lend me a hand? A plant creation has recently dropped its fruit, and I'd be grateful if you could gather a few samples for me. You should find some along the northern edge of the isle. Large as they are, you won't mistake them. Be warned, however, that the fruit are covered in acidic secretion. Before you handle any, you'll want to apply the steel-skin balm on your hands. That kept popping on my screen. What minions are here? I see Hedgehoglet. We have... I forget what that one's called. I think it's... no, I can't remember. And then Butterfly Effect. A lot of minions roaming around here, which is kind of cool. I do like that you just have all the animals here. Maybe this is like a... maybe all the minions roaming around was like a stress test for the Island Sanctuary thing that they're adding. This here, this weird looking thing, I have that as a mount. Oh, how funny. Patients live prone, you're live but insensitive. Eh? Do I still have do I have to do that again? Huh. I would have thought I'd get like a buff or something. Actually, whilst I'm here, what I am going to do, system, we're going to play music while mounted. Turn that off. And I don't know if I can turn this up, so if people are watching, would you please let me know if the sound is fine, because I don't know if the balance is good or not. I'm going to leave it at that, and then you guys can tell me what's going on with it. Ah, you're back. Were you able to get the fruit? Oh, such marvellous specimens, my thanks. You appear none the worse for wear either, so you must have used the balm like I suggested. Very good, very good. You may be wondering why the fruit is covered in acid. One day each fruit will be a carnivorous plant that preys on herbivores, keeping their population in check. But until it matures, it needs protection from those self-same herbivores. To that end, we tried giving the mother plant the impulse to spray its fruit with its digestive secretion. The fruit you bought we will examine to determine its resistance to the acid, and make adjustments as necessary. My thanks for your help. Ah, you there. Yes, you, the familiar. I need you to do me a favour. A colleague and I are supposed to conduct some tests at the Thalassi, but said colleague is late to arrive. I would go and find him myself, but I have preparations to finalise. Could you head over there? Over to the first bloom and tell him to hurry up. He is an observer with blue hair. 1 second. Okay. Shit! Hey, I told you we'd be going over here at some point. I almost messed up streaming today because I forgot to... Garrett, is my sound fine? And is my lighting fine? I would appreciate answers to both. Well now, there's a familiar I'm not familiar with. Apologies, I couldn't help myself. So is there something I can do for you? It's all good on your end. Thank you, Garrett. Yeah, Tess. So deep as I am thought, I completely lost track of time. In my defence, it was these very tests I had been pondering. Lest you wonder, they offer a species of fish that purifies the sea by devouring carcasses. Small as they were easy targets for larger fish. Thus did we imbue them with poison as a defence mechanism. Not wanting the poison to outright kill, we kept it weak. Even so, it gradually accumulates within the predator's body, and testing has determined that it will lead to mass death. Though we wish to avoid this outcome, the concept for this fish is truly marvellous, and it would be a shame to abandon it, but what to do? You could warn predators that it's poisonous. But of course, in doing so, it would reduce the likelihood that they will be preyed upon. Yes, I believe we have a solution. It's all thanks to you, my brilliant familiar. I'll go and join my colleague at once. We have a test to perform. Oh, do you suppose you could fetch something for me? For the test I have in mind, we'll be needing some bird of Elpis feathers. These can be had from a colleague of ours who specialises in avians. The man should be somewhere back on the main aisle. Thanks again and see you shortly. Still a really cool zone. Whose familiar might you be, and what is it you require? Bird of Elpis feathers, you say? I assume they are for your master. Here you go then, and run along. That's how everyone's just like, yeah, cool, sure, whatever. Have it. I totally trust you, stranger who I think is a familiar. There you are, my clever familiar. You have the feathers, I trust. Yes, these colours are perfect. We shall grant our fish the same to warn would-be predators of its poison. I say, was it the familiar who conceived of this idea? It was. Thanks to her, we won't need to revert our fish to Aether. So not only did you find my colleague, you thought of a solution to our problem and fetched the feathers. You've been very busy on our behalf, and we're grateful. Here was a little something for your troubles. If they truly believe me a familiar, why are they giving me money? Like, I'm a familiar, what am I going to do with it? A familiar, and all alone I see, and look at how thin you are. If your remaining Aether were to be exhausted, you'd simply fade from existence, and we wouldn't want that now, would we? I suggest you visit the morning dew. You'll find the winds blowing in from the left most invigorating. Perhaps as you're there, you might seek out a friend of mine and invite him to share a meal with me, if it's not too much to ask, that is. It is, it's too much to ask. disastrous behaviour. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and that's a quest line. So if we go with 4 on that, it puts it to about 11, 12. Depending on if we include that one itself, which I would say we would, which would make it 11. And that's just for this area. What brings you here, oh friendly familiar? Time for a meal, eh? Ah yes, quite right, thank you for reminding me. Still, a few more moments here can't hurt, surely. I dare say you've noticed how refreshing it is to even stand in this idyllic place. The air itself is permeated with rich ether, and the fine droplets from Lev ease the aches from a hard day's work. Try a nice big stretch, you won't regret it. So I've got to go here. See what I mean? The wind through the leaves, the waterfall's soothing spray, there's nothing quite like it. I am good, Gara, thank you. How are you? In our busy day-to-day lives, it's all too easy to forget to look after ourselves. Naturally, that includes familiars. Speaking of which, I'd best get something to eat, and you so kindly came here to tell me. As you seem new to these parts, my friend will probably be wondering whether you've lost your way. Go and put his mind to ease, would you? It is a pretty decent day. It's not too warm, it's not too cold. I can wear my shirt so I don't look like a tramp in stream. And I have the energy to stream, which is always good. And I've been looking forward to doing this area. And after this area, it only leaves Ultima full. And it should be just in time for some more FF content by that. Here to report on the successful completion of a favour I asked of you. How very dutiful of you. Would I be correct in guessing your little jaunt has paid dividends? Ha! No need to tell me. I can see you're practically bursting with vim and vigour. Why, even I feel better just looking at you, and I've done nothing but stand here the entire time. Lazy. Shulk, how is our fascinating familiar friend? What is it about you that ignites my observer's soul? Well, now that we've been properly introduced, perhaps you can tell us more. Yes, I'd very much like to know how you see the world, how everything large or small appears to your eyes. Assuming you are amenable to the idea, you must join Charmian on another tour, this time to take a wider look at the surrounding facilities. I am interested in learning about you as well. I see, then we shall delight in teaching each other. But where to begin? What facility do you suggest, Overseer? Any place you feel will best elicit a response from our guest. Right, yes, of course. Well then, Shulk, come with me and we'll visit the arcane entities on the south side of Anagorasis. God, it sounded like I was having a stroke. Are you doing good, Gara? I don't know if you've heard me. I did ask. We have yet to register an official name for this specimen, so we simply call it the Bird of Elpis. What is your first thought upon beholding this majestic creature? Well, I want to ride it into the sky. Fascinating. Imagine a familiar which supplements its deficiencies by taking a mount with the desired capacity, in this case flight. In any case, I'm eager to hear more of your responses. You truly are unlike any construct I've ever met, familiar or otherwise. Let's continue southward, shall we? I would like to hear your opinion on this next facility. That structure over yonder houses some of our more unorthodox researchers. Rather than weave creation magics, they breed existing specimens in the hopes of begetting new strains and species. The method is imprecise, the outcome uncertain. To my eyes, such research seems awfully self-indulgent, merely a means to sate the whims of one's intellectual curiosity. Our purpose in life is to improve Afaris. In my opinion, we should steer clear of techniques which produce flawed results. What if a process created... I'm assuming is what? My head is in the way. What if a process creates something unexpectedly incredible, beyond what you could imagine? A serendipitous discovery. I suppose it is possible. Thank you, I had thought to broaden your horizons, and here I am realizing how narrow my own views can be. Hardly a desirable quality in an observer. Time for a spot of rest and reflection, I say. Shall we move on to the morning dew? It's favoured by many an observer for its calming tranquillity. Gara, can you hear me now? Having my mod know that my sound is on is kind of important, because if my sound currently cuts off, you're my first defence. Because unlike smart PC players, I don't have an indication that my sound has been cut off. So you're my last line of defence against the stream. Because if I lose sound and I go for like an hour with no sound, it's... Remember that this has got to go to YouTube, so, you know, it's very important. You're the protector of the stream, Gara. That is your role right now. Do you accept this role? Welcome to our Garden of Respite. We can explore the more of it later, but first, I want to hear more of what you think, of people, of us. I've often sat here musing upon the nature of our creations and wondered how a familiar might perceive its creator. We are not so different. Ha! Perhaps that's true. You do seem far closer to us in nature than most other familiars. Well, let us set aside such musings for a moment and bask in morning dew's serenity. Are you well rested, Shulk? One cannot perform at one's best without allowing the mind and body time to recuperate. Here on Angonorisis, we often encourage one another to nap or partake of some of the fruits we grow. We could conjure such treats into existence, of course, but there is something oddly gratifying about plucking ripened fruit fresh from the tree. Oh, how remiss of me. How exactly do you sustain yourself? Is Asm supplying you with ether? No, but you'll fade away without the proper nourishment. The tour can wait. We must feed you immediately. Would you mind picking some of the white blooms to the west of here and bring them to Overseer Socles? Orchestratus flowers, we call them. I'll have everything else ready by the time you arrive. It wouldn't be a me stream without me adjusting my camera at least once. It's because I move too much. I don't know why, but like I swear I either get lower or higher depending on where my camera is. If my camera is pointed down because I've gone lower, I usually end up fucking sitting up. And if I'm sitting up, I end up falling down, and it's like I always have to adjust my camera, basically, is what I'm saying. It literally is like commonplace at this point in my streams that I have to sort out my camera, and I really need to stop doing that. The only problem with streaming on a Wednesday is Pheasant can't come by. Because he's a peen. But I'd been putting this off. I was actually going to do it yesterday, but when Logic said that he'd do a stream, and I was like, I'll leave it to him then. Charmian explained to me the crisis at hand. Have you bought the flowers? Yes, these are the ones we need. I'll add them to the fruits from Charmian's basket, and we'll soon have an aether replenishing beverage for you to enjoy. 'Tis the work of but a moment. And here we are, freshly squeezed anagonorosis juice medley. Go on then, drink up. I'm curious to hear what you think of it. Anagonorosis. You drink the juice, noting the complexities of the floral and fruity flavours. Ah, good. It seems you are able to tolerate liquid sustenance. You didn't appear to be suffering from any loss of material form, but a familiar must have a regular infusion of ethereal energy. And now that we know you won't suddenly vanish, will you please reassure Charmian? She looks terribly concerned. I am so glad that you were able to replenish the stores of ether. Overseer Socles certainly is a wonder when it comes to food preparation. I don't know why, but I imagine that kind of flavour to be like elderberry, which I always used to love drinks of. I am so glad you were able to reply. Oh right, I already read that. Still, I firmly believe that the consumption of food should be limited to restoring one's strength. Any reason beyond that is simply wasteful. Eating for enjoyment alone is an unnecessary drain on living resources, and such a practice can only be harmful to our star's equilibrium. Which is why I have so much respect for Overseer Socles and his culinary talent. He employs ingredients and methods which not only optimize a dish's ethereal concentration, but also produce flavorful results. Save your compliments, Charmian. I won't be flattered into making another batch until it's time for our next meal. Well, of course not. I would never dream of attempting such base manipulation to begin with. Cutscene. Shulk, I feel we've grown to understand each other, but there's one last thing I wish to know. As you've seen, our purpose is to improve life on this star, and we each have our own way of approaching that purpose. Familiars too exist for a reason, often a very specific one, and I wonder what you feel about your place in the grand scheme of things. Charmian, perhaps you can provide our friend here with an example of what you mean. Such a nebulous question requires a more recognizable foundation from which to answer. Yes, you're right, of course, and we must not skip the journey in our haste to reach the destination. Where to begin? Broadly speaking, we study the wisdom and our magics of our forebears, and choose our path as our interests and talents begin to crystallize. Even among the observers of Anagonorosis, however, Overseer Socles and I share a similar calling. Again, it may be more beneficial to simply show you what I mean. Please accompany me to the archives in the northwest. Hey, I was right. This is where we keep all of the administrative records. Any of these documents will help give you an idea of what we consider to be our defining purpose. Feel free to browse. I shall just be awaiting you outside. These books appear to contain detailed observation logs. The name Socles is written on each of the spines. A stack of half-finished observation logs judging by the penmanship, the author is someone other than Socles. You pick up the log and flip to a random page. Today there was an incident involving the hippocampus. The creature is extremely territorial, and 4 observers sustained light to severe injuries from water-based magics as a result of their perceived intrusion into its domain. A report has been sent to the Words of La Habrea outlining the dangers inherent in continued observation of their nominated subject, and the intent to shift our focus to the smaller and considerably less aggressive hippo. Interesting as well, because that is actually a boss in the Pandemonium raid, and obviously these quests came out before the raid, so that was actually kind of a hint, which is cool. I like little linked things like that. Ah, Shulk, did you find the observation logs enlightening? Overseer Socklers has built up quite the library, hasn't he? He logged comprehensive observations on every living being in Anagonorisis. I swear, by the end of this stream, that word's going to be the fucking bane of my existence. Just give me a second. Not only objective physical descriptions, but also his personal thoughts and impressions. And that's why I'm here, to carry on the Overseer's invaluable work. When it comes to the continued success of Anagonorisis, our purposes are very much aligned. I cannot help but worry, however, that I lack the same degree of perception and ability, that I am unfit for the task I have chosen. Even being in the same room as those logs is enough to make me feel uncomfortable. My insistence that you examine your purpose was, I think, born from the trepidation which surrounds my own. An uncertainty you need not feel. Overseer Sucklers. As one of our newest arrivals, you have ever been quick to doubt yourself. Fuck you, Gara. Yet you were able to guide Shulk here on an engaging tour through the intricacies of our duties, which clearly demonstrates the depths of your understanding. If all I wanted was someone to emulate my work, why I would simply continue doing it myself. No, the reason I asked you to assume my role is because I believe you can take our projects in new and novel directions. Raising you as a competent successor is the final step of my purpose in life. Do me proud, Charmian. It is your growth, your efforts, which will facilitate my return to the star. I will do my best, Overseer. Right, to Gara, because I know you probably don't remember or didn't see or don't understand, the whole return to the star thing is actually him saying he's going to basically kill himself. The ancients live for a purpose, and once they've reached the finale of their purpose in their own eyes, they basically just choose to die, and that's how they die. But don't be in too much of a rush to leave us. There are still so many things I need you to teach me. Yeah. And speaking of teaching, thank you, Shulk, for this wonderful and enriching visit. It's been a pleasure learning about you, not to mention a few things about myself. Yes, you also have my gratitude for the part you played in training my young colleague. You are welcome to return whenever you wish. Yeah, if you've noticed that I've coloured my my armour white. I'm like wearing the same robe as them, but mine's white and theirs is black. In the lore of the ancients, basically what that means is that someone has reached what many is the position of stepping down from your position, your purpose. However, that person has then chose to remain living, and so they wear white robes, and some see it as like an insult, less of an insult, but like it's not normal. It's very weird for you to stick around once your purpose is done. A visitor touring our facility, are you? If you wish, you can assist us with one of our latest arrivals, the Aureus. The creatures are identifiable by their long ears, which they use to detect danger. They are also keenly attuned to minerals and can find deposits even in pitch darkness. Now, we were just testing the effect on minerals on them when they reacted acutely to mana stone. Becoming visibly agitated, they each grabbed a stone and scurried off. We need to round them up again and could use a helping hand. If you're up for it, please seek out my colleague who is out searching. She should be somewhere between here and the first bloom and can give you instructions. So there's your bit of lore for the stream, because I told you I will try explain lore when I can. 1 second. Going to help us on the Aurea, you say? We're much obliged. 3 of the critters have been sighted yonder. When you find one, use this Hypnos potion on it. It should put it to sleep and allow you to easily capture it. Should the potion fail to work, as it occasionally does, you can simply exhaust the creature into submission. That way it says over yonder and it's like miles away. I like that design. He always tries to fight the potion but eventually succumbs. Cute. He always quickly falls asleep. I really like this zone. You should use... Alright, I forgot. Doi. This one's gonna fight me then. Oh, this is too agitated, the potion has no effect. Boom. Imagine trying to mess with a warrior. Ah, there you are. Were you able to catch the Aria? Thank you. Now only 2 of the critters remain at large. I've received word that they've been sighted in another area, so I will hurry there at once. In the meantime, I'd be grateful if you could take the 3 fellows you caught back to Euclides. I am probably butchering half of these names, and to that I say... Oh, 'tis you again. How did you fare with the Aura? Well, now that you should bring the creatures yourself. I hope they didn't give you too much trouble. Their abnormal behaviour was most certainly caused by their power harboured in the Mana Stone. Still, we have the highest hopes for the Aureas, and digging for minerals. They prime the earth for plant life. If we suppress their sensitivity to magical influence, theirs will surely be a beneficial existence to the star, and you, my friend, can be proud in having helped bring them forth. Yeah, exactly. That can be my Asian name. How curious, a familiar bearing armaments. You must be special indeed. As it happens, I may have a use for you. Would you care to assist me by capturing a few Ophians? In exchange for a reward of sorts, naturally. I should warn you, however, they tend to be rather uncooperative. Aggressively so, in fact. The familiars previously recruited for this task all met with most unfortunate ends. A terrible waste, but let us not dwell on such things. Here, take this ethereal-imbued rope and use it to restrain the Ophians. Remember, I require living samples. They are extremely valuable, so if you must choose between their lives and your own, do the honourable thing and let them kill you. No. I somehow think not. God, I have so much rage. Oh, right, yeah. Whoops. Forgot that I have to not kill them. That was, whoopsie. Shut up. I knew exactly what I was doing. There we go. Whoops. We will just pretend none of that happened, right? Can you imagine if life was like this? Like, just towns look like this and stuff like that. It'd be really cool. Why is it so pretty? Why can't we live in these worlds, honestly? Have you bought the specimens I requested? Like, the thing is, building a place like this would be possible. Like, people are like, oh yeah, well, it's all fantasy. Well, it isn't, really. It's just, you know, brick and mortar at the end of the day. Like, we could actually, it's just, the world is so fucking wrapped up in itself that we can't make it pretty. People care too much about efficiency. Well, to overcome such ferocious creatures and live to tell the tale, your maker certainly placed great importance in durability. As for the Ophians you brought me, they will be delivered to the Academia Anida. Like the other creatures in Elpis, they are currently under observation, that we may determine their suitability for existence beyond these confines. Samples are carefully selected and sent for further study. If they are found worthy, they will receive official approval. Only then can they be submitted to the Bureau of the Architect. As even you can imagine, the evaluation process is particularly strict for voracious predators such as Ophians. It would reflect rather poorly on those involved if they were to wreak havoc when unleashed on the wider world. Not that that is any concern of yours. Here is your reward, and I'll run along with you. But yeah, I think we should care less about efficiency and more on making the world look gorgeous like this. Because can you imagine how less depressed people would be if we could live somewhere like this? I would be less depressed. Why do you think I play video games? A familiar, come to observers, are you? But what are you called? Shelk, you say, 'tis a fine name. I am Theodas. Theodius. A researcher here at Anagonosis. We are currently preparing a section of this isle for a new creation. For this, we need to expel those creatures that inhabit said area, but they will not interfere with our tests. The simplest way to do so is to have the Ampalos sneeze. The explosive noise never fails to send nearby critters fleeing. We are just about to tend to this task, but seeing as you are here, how would you like to give it a try? Yes, please. Heh, I knew that you would be keen. To look at you, 'tis plain you are an inquisitive sort of familiar. Now then, my beast-keeper colleague is already on site to the northeast of here. Seek him out and he will tell you what to do. I actually cleared through these quests faster than I would, or thought I would, but these still exist. Might be a case that I do these, then do them, then take a break, then do them. Just because we're still on decent time, I thought these would take me longer. He's supposed to be here by now, but who might you be? Oh, you're clearing the site in Theodos' stead. How very kind of you. Come then, let's get you on the Ampalos. Once you're securely mounted, ride it yonder and have it sneeze at the bushes. The noise will scare away whatever creatures may be hiding. Chew. The Ampalos' mighty sneeze sends the creatures in the bush scattering at panic. I didn't even get to see what the creature was there. Shame. Mushrooms. This can't even fly, what the hell? Everything can fly on this game. The creature came running all the way here. Frightened as they looked, I dare say they'll keep away from the site for a good while. For its hard work, I shall treat the Ampalos to a spot of sunbathing. Meanwhile, you should return to Phidias. I am certain he will have a reward for you too. The music here is so nice. Game just had to put me in battle to ruin my point. I mean, I like that music, but that one isn't nice. It's cool. Welcome back, Shulk. Thanks to you, the site has been nicely cleared, and we can release our new creation. It's a species of ambulatory plant, lest you wonder. While these have been popular as of late, this one dwarfs the rest. A veritable tree that can use its branches like hands to catch prey. Sets my heart aflutter just thinking about it. My thanks again, and if there are any other exciting tasks, I will be certain to let you know. Bah, where in the world could the rest have gotten to? Ah, friend, familiar. If you have a moment, I require help rounding up our Agavoid's young. 6 remain unaccounted for, and I would be most grateful if you could search for them with me. The creatures secrete nectar from their tails, which attracts insects. Where they swarm, you are likely to find Agavoids. And when you do, use this etheric rope to catch it. Small as they are, I don't believe they will be too far away. Let us endeavour to find 3 each, and then reconvene here. Hiccups, go fuck yourself. The Agavoid seems... Alright, yeah, I need to fucking use the rope. Doi! Ah, my knees! I need to stretch them out. Oh, I'm an idiot. I never move my knees enough, Joe. When I'm streaming, I always just forget. And then I end up in a lot of pain. Let me just stretch. Oh. That is my biggest... I really need to fucking... Alright, Garrett, I really need to put a posture check redemption on my streams so people can force me to do that. I will probably sort that out after this stream. So we'll have one for Ultima Fall, and then people can force me to actually take a stretch break. Ah, you are returned as well. I managed to find 3. How about yourself? I also found 3. Wonderful, this accounts for all of them. We can finally release the creatures. Lest you wonder, the Agavoids were created to curb the insect population. They have passed the first phase of determination, and thus will be provisionally sent out into the wider world. Though a few steps remain before they can fully take their place in nature, I've no doubt but that they will make our star a better place. This isn't much, but please accept it by way of my gratitude for your assistance. Oh my, aren't you adorable? Actually there's something you might be able to help me with. A visitor from the Bureau of Architect has arrived at Propylion to deliver new concepts. I would like you to offer her the warmest of welcomes. Normally we'd have our own familiars attend to such duties, but most of them are already entertaining other guests. There's been rather a lot lately, you see. On the other hand, this would be the perfect opportunity to show an entirely new, and what's a nice way to put this, idiosyncratic familiar, that being you of course. I'm sure she'd be delighted to meet you. I need a drink whilst I fly over here. Still such a pretty place. I'd love to live there, yeah. Although I'd probably be scared going near the edges. I've got to be honest, I'd probably wet myself. What a pleasant surprise. You must be one of those most curiously elongated familiars I've ever seen. Eurodome chose a representative well, it would appear. As a matter of fact, I too have an errand to ask of you, namely the delivery of these concepts. I have brought them all the way from Academia Anida, 3 aquatic fauna specimens from the words of Metron, and 1 flora sample from the words of Halmarut. All very fascinating, as my counterparts here will soon discover. It would also be prudent to remind Eurodome not to let their captivating nature distract her from making her observations. Well then, there's no time like the present. Bit shocked, but they, you know, don't want to take it themselves. That is a really nice tree. Are there other trees like that? Or is it just that one? I don't know. They're kind of like that, but that one's kind of stand out for some reason. Weird thing to comment on, I know, but it is a nice tree. I trust our guest was as enamoured with you as I am. New concepts for us, and fascinating to the point of being distracting. What an odd thing to warn me about, though it does all sound rather intriguing. The Academia Anida always produces concepts of the most outstanding quality, and I'm eager to learn what treats we have in store on this occasion. Let me see. From the word of Metron, we have what seems to be an aquatic mollusk, capable of storing ether in its shell. I can only guess as to what purpose that would serve, but I dare say all will become abundantly clear in due course. Oh, I do apologise, I already find myself mesmerised by the concepts, just as our visitor predicted. For your part in bringing me these wonders, you have my thanks. Ah, we meet again, the familiar who was with Charmian, yes? My apologies if I seem a little distracted, but I'm actually in the midst of searching for someone. It's my mentor who taught me practically everything I know. Now she has relinquished her role and is ready to make her final journey. But before she does, there is an important matter I must convey to her. The last concept in her care, a beautiful winged creature, has been approved for life in a ferris. Hello, Logix. Please will you help me look for her? There's a strong chance you will find her at Philometes Notos. Her most distinguishing feature is her chestnut-coloured hair, tied into a single flowing lock, much like a monoceros' tail. My browser has been today, so I'm just going to be lurking. Alright, Logix, thank you for at least lurking. What hairstyle is she using? Not what I thought she'd be using. You wish to speak with me? Ah yes, I had a feeling she might say that. As I have told her, my decision has been made. What about the winged creature? Glad tiding to be certain, but my work is done. This news was more than sufficient, and I thank you for it. Nothing can deter me from my chosen course, and I must join my predecessors in the hereafter. Tell Blast to name the creature as she pleases, and that I wish her every happiness. Now a brief encounter has reached its end. Farewell. We'll meet again. Don't know where. Don't know when. If you're wondering why I'm saying that, it's because the quest is called We'll Meet Again. She's not with you. Did you at least find her? I should have known nothing would sway her. All I can do is hope she finds blessed respite in the ethereal sea, and that we may one day be reunited in another life. Thank you, Logix. Until then, I will carry on her legacy, beginning with the naming of the creature she cared for so dearly. I think I shall name it after her. That way she will live on through her work forever. Ah, you, my dear familiar, are precisely what I need. Pray help me with my research. One of our new creations has an extremely wary disposition. Try as I might to go near it for observation, it senses my ether and flees. As if familiar, your ether is thinner than mine, yet you seem more intelligent than your fellows. That being the case, I believe you may succeed where I have failed. Come with me behind the building, I will take you to the creation. Definitely got through that. That's probably going to be the slow part. Damn it, I was trying to look at that. I think that's emerald. There it is, Notos 666. New as it is to Elpis, the creature has yet to be given a proper name. As I mentioned, I cannot go near it. Indeed, this is the closest I can be. I want you to approach it and then do something to show that you are a friend. What do you think will work? Perform a dance for it. Ah, an excellent idea. If it sees you moving in a whimsical fashion, it may well lower its guard. So go on, try to perform a dance for Notos 666. I shall watch from here. Best of luck to you. That didn't work. Notos 666 goes off, leaving behind the bowl of fruit. I witnessed it all. You did very well, my dear familiar. Notos 666 is designed to facilitate the proliferation of fruiting trees by bearing their seeds to faraway places. While they're young or still unable to forage for themselves, it is the duty of the male creatures to bring them food. I'm leaving you the fruit. It appears to have taken you for one of its own. I wasn't sure how it would respond to your overtures, but I wasn't expecting that. Go on and take your gift, and let us return to Anagnorisis. You deserve a reward for your troubles. Shulk just be looking like, bitch. Do I look like a piazza to you? Paisa. Thanks to your invaluable cooperation, I was able to acquire some very insightful data. Oh, the fruit. They are rightfully yours to enjoy, so go on, enjoy them. The fruit looked good, but it tastes even better. Each bite a small piece of heaven in your mouth. Judging by your expression, it would seem Notos 666 saves the choicest fruit for its young. Though it has but come to us, I have a good feeling for the creature. When the time comes, we shall have to think up of a suitable, fine name for it. Here's the reward I promised. Thanks again, my dear familiar. Right, now we go over here. Looking at the time, I definitely cleared that a lot faster than I was expecting. So we're gonna go do these quests here in the 12 Wonders. And then we will do we'll take a break after that, and then we will do these, because that looks like it's going to be the big bulk of quests, which is going to be interesting. I suspect these quests will probably have me going here all around, whereas this kept to this island, and I'm suspecting this will keep to these islands. But I feel like these will go to all of the islands. So we'll see when we get there. Going to start from the top and go down here. Breaking my usual way of doing it from bottom to top. Crows take that little sod. Where's it gone? Oh, I was unaware we had a visitor. Pardon my language. I should hate to give a poor impression of Elpis with my unprofessional behaviour. Alas, I am quite at my wit's end with this new cultivar. You are fortunate not to have overheard worse. Its restorative properties are superlative, that much is true. Yet, what possessed its creator to give it such nimble little legs, I shall never understand. I really must impress upon those fools at the words of Halmarut that not everything need to be ambulatory. I've tried leashing it, fencing it in, staring at it with all my might, each to no available. Available? Each to no avail. Its resourcefulness is far beyond what one could, and I dare say should, wish of a vegetable. Given that it shows such signs of sentience, however, perhaps it is possible for another intelligent creation to commune with it. Are you willing to make the attempt? When it embarked upon its most recent bid for freedom, I sent my assistants after it. His own legs have grown quite powerful by this point, so with any luck you will find them not too far to the west. Grillos sent you to commune with the Mandragora. Best of luck. Mandragora emits the screech not unlike the sound of a Magitech airship's hull rendering in twain. It is unclear what it's meant to convey. Did that help? So even its fellow creations cannot understand it. What a pity. Granted, I did suspect its vocal organ was unique. Aha, if you took the same form, that may be less of an obstacle, though I admittedly unversed in the original design specifications. I shall have little difficulty transforming you into its mirror. Shall we have a go? Wonderful, now stand still. LOL! Wicked! Yeah, baby! What is this barrier? Oh. Damn it, I was hoping I could run around for a bit like that. If anything, you understand even less than you did before. How is that? One moment, please. Pardon me, I had not the slightest idea what you were saying. Would you mind repeating that? Foiled again. Nevertheless, we have gained valuable data. Alas, please inform Grillos that it may be some time before I return. Funny. I liked that I got to be that for a few seconds. Why isn't it that we get items in this game that allow you to do stuff like that? That would be awesome. Did you locate the Mandragora? Seemingly incapable of comprehensible communication, is it? Perhaps its degree of intelligence bears further scrutiny. Of course, if upon further observation it is deemed sentient, it will be subject to even greater scrutiny to ensure it can be safely set loose. To understand each creation and all its aspects and conclusively prove it beneficial or detrimental to the star, such is our duty and burden as researchers. At least we can say with certainty that its legs work. I am so pleased that you're willing to join us in further research. Thus far you have noted this Aelorus's response to stimuli. However, the Aelori have one more very special capability. Aren't you curious? You will be pleased to know that I have dispatched one additional Aelorus to fly about the 12 wonders then. If she is working as designed, the phenomenon should be clearly observable. I expect that you will be able to collect evidence of it from my fellow researchers, say Oloros, Deucalion, and Chloris. Do present your conclusions to me when you have finished. I would advise you keep your head down. I saw some manner of creature darting about in the air just now. If it carries on like that, it's only a matter of time before it collides with someone's skull. It startled me so badly that I accidentally created a winged fish of all things, which itself escaped to the skies ere I knew it. Though now that I have a moment to reflect upon its speedy departure, perhaps the ability to fly is not so wasted upon aquatic creatures as I believed. Surely such a boon would give them heretofore unknown capacity to evade predation. The recent fashion for flying concepts may have something to it after all. I really must pay a visit to the Bureau of the Architect next time in Amarot. I doubt anyone has registered a winged fish yet. Sorry, I'm trying to sort my pose out. A tiny winged creature, do you refer to Hippophos familiar perchance? I did see it not long ago. I know not where it's gone off to, I regret to say. I would assist in your search, but I must put brush to parchment before I forget what I meant to write. Outside of my observational duties, I have been labouring over a treatise on aquatic flora, you see. Yet rereading my work a moment ago, I suddenly struck with how trite my conclusion sounds. I believe I know precisely how to strengthen it. However, I dare say even Halmarut shall be impressed by my insight. I accidentally bit down on my own teeth. Isn't this the most darling familiar you've ever seen? Behold its soft and fluffy fur, its pudgy belly, its charming little bell, its eyes that gaze imploringly into the very depths of your soul. Makes you want to dismantle it and gobble up its adorable aper right up. Does it not? I dare not, of course. Whoever it belongs to would be quite cross indeed, yet even to gaze upon it stokes within me a creative passion, the likes of which I've never known. Mew. Alas, my muse. Perhaps I need to create my own familiar of surpassing cuteness after all. I see you have spoken to everyone, and what are your findings? I just bit my teeth again. I keep doing that. Exactly right. The Allori bless those they meet with inspiration. After that we are at our best and our brightest. When our hearts are at ease, with clarity of thought and faith in ourselves, we can do anything. And what could possibly quell inner turmoil so well as a lovable creature like this? Mew mew meow. Ah, it seems due to call. She senses another irregularity. Off you go then, dear girl. With today's results, the Allori's concept will be approved in no time. I am truly fortunate to have such wonderful familiars to work with. Yourself included, of course. Everyone certainly seems content to allow their familiars to wander about unattended as of late. I must say it's becoming something of a distraction. I've been attempting to prune this brush for ages. Who is responsible for you? Azim, you say? In that case, I suppose some degree of independence is to be expected. I take it you're the resilient sort as well. You name it, I've been punched by it. That's wonderful to hear. The Akanfa population around the Wonders is in need of culling, you see. The appropriate number of specimens has been moved to the Hungering Gardens, a far more suitable habitat, but the remainder need to be cut down ere they harm the local environment. You can attract one by applying this nectar water to yourself, perhaps over by the beacon to the northeast. We should hate for the creature to lumber over here and mistake anyone else for a tasty snack after all. Sweet scent with a touch of brightness fills the air. This thing is gonna be dead. Huzzah! The scent of nectar water and fresh cut vines. You did as I asked. It is much appreciated. The acanthi grow and propagate quickly, too quickly as I have learnt. Their short life cycle makes them an excellent source of fertilizer in woodland areas. I'd hoped this factor would be enough to keep their population in check, but it appears that without natural predators, they proliferate so fast as to smother the local flora. Moving them to the gardens will do for the moment, but I must find the means to make them less invasive as a species. Lest they be deemed unsuited to this world, I couldn't bear to see that happen to my darlings. Oh, did I neglect to mention that I'm the creator of the Akanfa concept? A great many of those who research creations in Elpis submit our own concepts from time to time, you know. Be wasteful not to put the knowledge we gain from our observations to use. Just as it would be wasteful to allow my darlings to be sent to Lev, I will make this concept work. I promise you that. quest is in here? Nope. Hello? Oh. Ah, aren't you just adorable? Yes, yes you are. Hello. I'm doing it. That's what I love about you, familiars. So whimsical. I have a task that is perfectly suited to one such as yourself. I would like you to inspect the flower beds north of here. I suspect they will have accumulated some ethereal masses. Should you find any, please bring them to me. Do look carefully now. If I needed someone to wander off with a task half finished, I would have asked one of the other researchers. Why did I read that? Well, I was expecting a fight or something there. I have been misjudged. Or I have misjudged, should I say. Where you examine the flower bed closely, there are no ethereal masses to be found. The ethereal mass floats over the flower bed, ripe for the picking probably. Again, I was still expecting a fight. I'm very curious. Curious and curiouser. Did you scrutinize every corner of the beds? I did. As I suspected, the masses of urban aspect. The gardens of the 12 wonders reflect the balance of dynamic and stagnant aether of all 6 aspects. An excess of activity in a single aspect leads to this type of agglomeration. 'Tis these flowers' way of bearing fruit, so to speak. Beautiful as they may sound, ethereal masses indicate that we must adjust the ethereal balance in Elpis to maintain an ideal environment. There's naught for you to worry your dear little head about, of course. Such magic is as simple as breathing for us. Now run along. I hope everyone is having a good day. Where did you come from? Get back, quickly! How odd. Generally speaking, this grips would sooner gore you than look at you. Did your creator imbue you with a special talent for soothing savage beasts, perchance? Curious indeed. I dare say this calls for further experimentation. I don't suppose you'd be willing to attempt a flight on its back. I hope that the grips will be find use as a mount, you see, but its aggression towards unfamiliar faces has precluded any real trials thus far. Please consider it. You are willing to ride the gripe. Splendid. We can begin immediately, assuming that your preferred riding trousers on. Are you and your trousers ready to ride the grips? Is this going to have one of those things where I have to like speed fucking read? Because I hate them quests. Just because they read so fast. But both of you have wonderfully relaxed riding postures. What say you to a little tour of Elpis? Yeah, it's going to be one of these ones. Getting ready to speed read. I don't trust it. Just waiting for something to pop on the screen so that I can like read out. There we go. Neopatoran's beauty is ever striking. Note the blossoms which change according to Elpis' seasons and ethereal balance. A true masterwork. The grip seems quite content as a result of the flower's sweet perfume and your masterful handling, no doubt. Let's know what the towers are for. These. Oh. These beacons are crucial to our operations here in Elpis and make convenient lodestars for flying specimens under observation. Successful concept side them at a distance and... Oh, fuck you! The grip has passed that test with flying colours, so let us return to solid ground. Well, I found out what they're for, sort of. Let me see if I can quickly gaze at stream and read what I missed there. Successful concepts sight them from a distance and can approach without hesitation. That's what I missed. Fucking bastard. Honestly, man. But yeah, as to what they... An elegant landing, another mark in favour of the grip's utility as a mount. I believe I have the data I need. Thank you for your cooperation. I'm sure you are curious as to what today's trial means for our frontier. If you like, we can speak further back at the Wonders. I hate... Why look text behind speed reading? I could probably read it, like if I was just trying to fucking read it myself and wasn't on stream and was just doing it in my head, but actually speaking words out makes it harder. Welcome back. You'll be pleased to know that based on these results, I am confident the grips can be trained to become the perfect mount. It scorns unfamiliar or clumsy hands, yes, but so long as it trusts its rider, it serves her incomparably. Given Hermes his own expertise, flying creatures are always subject to immense scrutiny before approval. Even so, I have no doubt that our proud friend will pass muster. Oh, you are atoms familiar, are you not? I pose to you a question. Imagine an object you truly desire lies before you. What do you do? Shout need. I see, as rumoured, you do show a glimmer of intelligence. Avarice is a mark of sentience, you know. Speaking of which, my pot of nectar has recently gone missing, along with the nymphi I was observing. Welcome, as this confirmation of their intelligence is, they aren't meant to eat all of that at once. Of course, should I pursue them, they will like as not hide for fear of reprisal, while they devour the lot. However, they may respond if a fellow familiar expresses her doubt that so much nectar truly belongs to them, if you take my meaning. Ah, it's the beavers again. Squeal, squeal, the nympho waddles away looking rather pleased with itself. Squeal, squeal! The nympho waddles away, but not before you catch a strong whiff of nectar. Have I been blind as a fucking bat? Knowing me, most likely. Eh. Ah, there we go. Squeal, squeal, squeal. My nympho squeals in presumably disgruntled fashion and waddles away. You've returned, but where are my nymphi? You should probably forget about those. What in the world are you talking about? Come now, tell me what you saw. Spare no detail. I'm a professional. Strange brown-furred creatures? They waddled? My nymphi were bright and winged and... oh no. No, that's absurd. Tell no one of this. Some things are better off lost. Fortified enclosures? That would be dreadfully dull for all involved. Oh, if only there was someone who... Aha! You have impeccable timing, my friend. I am in need of assistance, you see. Do you even have any money? Why, of course I do. Are not all creative minds well compensated for their work? Now listen. We have been asked to design a new island for the purpose of containing and monitoring poisonous specimens. Alas, we know little of such concepts, and last I attempted a bit of research, I woke up 3 days later with far too much information about grapes. You, however, have the look of a familiar that could not possibly care less about this subject. Thus do I require your services. You need only ask the researchers at Anagonoresis for a brief introduction to poisonous creatures, and steadfastly ignoring any niggling curiosity in favour of reporting back here. Said there'll be one back at the other island. So after we've done this one, assuming that another one doesn't suddenly pop up, we'll take a break and then we have this. Which is 19 quests, not including any fucking... not including any... quest line! That's what I was trying to say. Poisonous creatures, why there's one right here. As you can see, its skin is translucent, the body within, shall we say, squishy. Fortunately for it, those beautiful sleeve-like appendages conceal countless minute stinging darts. Most other creatures cannot so much as touch it, let alone devour it. It would be fascinating to see how it fares against non-aquatic concepts. Ooh, perhaps it could even fly, should a light enough gas be incorporated into the membrane. You have learned a disturbing fact about stinging invertebrates. You are soliciting ideas for the Isle of Poisonous Concepts? In that case, you might ask after the new cultivar from the Chthonic Horns. I'm told it bears poison fruit. You learn of a deadly new cultivar. The quintessential example of a poisonous specimen is the Morbol Marquis, of course. Never was there a creation so foul, so pungent, hence the name. Indeed, the concept has lately been adjusted to prevent any further accidents. But the Marquis, oh the Marquis, it blinds the eyes and paralyzes the body, even as the mind desires nothing so much as to vomit continually to purge its stench. Why did they ever make that thing? You have learned the origins of the Morbols. Foolish mortals. Oh wait. Yeah, is Emerald Weapon Bard in there? No, that looks cool. Swear that was a different set, but that looks really nice. Well, I might be thinking of a ruby one, honestly. Either way, that is a nice armor set. There you are! I'd begun to worry you'd become mired in the minutiae. Note, note, note. 3 notes, enough to see our options, yet not so many as to lead us into the weeds. Well done. My, this marquee is fascinating, isn't it? How might one contain such a specimen that is not befouled its environs beyond repair? I simply must know. Excuse us, we are off to see a man about a mobile. And that is all of these quests done. So what we're going to do is we're going to get up here quickly. And then we're going to blue screen, pause, so that I can go get me coffee. And so that Slandy might be enabled to cut and sort the video for YouTube at a later point. Coffee, exactly, Gara. Also, welcome back. Right, we'll start from the bottom. So here. Right, from here, I am going to put a pause on the video. So, bear with. I'll be back after I've got my coffee. I'm back. I've had my coffee. So we are back. I did take a little consideration whilst I was having my coffee, and I am thinking, which is dangerous, I know. 1 second, my bloody laptop is being my laptop. I'm thinking I might do my next Sidequest stream tomorrow, and we just go all the way with this and be done with it tomorrow. Not because I want it to be done, quite the opposite. It's because I'm enjoying it, and Ultima Fall is the zone I've looked most forward to, because it's certainly going to be interesting lore-wise. But yeah, I'm thinking that's tomorrow. And then that finishes our Stories of the Realm series. Me and Sandy can start working on thumbnails and stuff, and we can get that started to be uploaded onto YouTube for any who's missed it. Or just wants to go back onto it and look at the lore to rewind themselves. That was kind of the whole purpose of this series, was that people who don't want to do a side quest can just go watch them when they need a bit of information. I have considered at some point doing a character just to go back and do the, even though I've already done them, the A Realm Reborn up to Stormblood side quests all on stream, so that there's some documentation of it somewhere that people can just go watch. And add it to the Stories of the Realm series. Furthermore, after we've completed it tomorrow, it would mean that I need to look for something else to stream. I would need to get Catherine done, because I left that off. But overall, I'd be looking for a new streaming thing until Stray comes out, or 6.2 comes out for this. So, that would be interesting. But anyway, never mind about future episodes, let's talk about this one. Let's get going. And thank you for welcoming me back, Gara. You're familiar, aren't you? Then perhaps you might be able to help me. I received an appeal for assistance from a colleague of mine, but I am up to my eyeballs in work as it is. Might you step in where I cannot? Sorry, I was just checking something quickly. Your benevolence does you credit. The researcher I spoke of has striking red hair and is likely lingering in the south side of Kilomelios Zephyros. Down this way, apparently. These are cool. He needs assistance, apparently. Oh, you're a familiar, aren't you? One sent by Glefra, no doubt. Well, thank goodness you're here. I confess I'm still in somewhat of a daze, but with you here, I at least feel safe enough to stop and catch my breath. Something came over the specimen I was examining, though I'm not entirely sure what. I'd never seen it behave so erratically before. At any rate, it managed to slip my grasp and escape. I tried to chase after it, but I'm not half so fleet-footed. To complicate matters, the thing has a very nervous temperament, and will flee if anyone so much as approaches it. I considered imbuing some sort of sleeping spell into a dart, which one might shoot from a height. But who has such an impeccable aim? Not I, to be sure. Do you? You do. I admit that proposal was made somewhat in jest, but this works out perfectly. So it's settled. You shall put our skittish beast to bed. Find yourself a vantage point from a rise southeast of here. And with this blow dart, bring the frenzied fiend under control again. Me? Oh, I will stay here and take a moment to collect myself. Where for art thou? Destination. Search for the rampaging creature. Blah blah blah. Shoot it. Do 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 do. Whoops. Boom. It's a little Matanga. We don't talk about that first shot. It was a Matango, I was right. Go away. How dexterous you must be to hit a moving target with so small an object. Most impressive. Well, allow me to take that dozing specimen off your hands. Why, what a precious sight our little beast makes when it's not running amok. A shame it can't be this adorable all the time. You got me there, Gara. It was indeed always about me. This was, in fact, one amateur creature's answer to the walking shark that recently gained approval. A somewhat hasty and ill-advised attempt, if you ask me. Credit where credit is due, though. The specimen is bipedal, despite its base being that of a quadrupedal beast. Its predilection for being an excitable nuisance, however, means it cannot be any real use to our star. What it needs is a healthy dose of intellect. I will write a report stating as much. While I do that, return to Glafra and tell her of the assistance you rendered. Oh, and offer her my gratitude too, would you? There you are. Thank you for tidying up that bit of mess for me. Speaking of which, what was the mess exactly? A thrilling game of Tracy creation, was it? That conjures up a sorry image indeed. It sounds like the researcher was able to glean some valuable information, so all's well that ends well, I suppose. If all goes according to the reports made, and sufficient intellect can be cultivated, then the specimen should prove a valuable contribution to our world. Thank you again for your assistance. Look at all these quests. When you zoom it out like that and it just becomes big fucking... A name, I need a name for it. One that will stand the test of time as it passes through generation after generation. When you break it down, what's in a name really? Oh, hello, I didn't see you there. You're a familiar, I take it. Very good, but who is I wonder? Well, that's not important right now. You've ears enough to listen to my plight. I'm tasked with a job of great import. Nomenclature. Currently, I find myself facing down a sort of creative blockage in regards to this fellow's name. This is a creature who has not only survived the vivacious wilds of the Hungering Gardens, but has thrived in them thanks to its ossified spines, thus it deserves a name befitting its rugged tenacity. Despite its singularly unique physical properties, its creator never bothered to refer to it as anything besides its designation, Euros 310. I cannot abide so uninspired a name for a creation as remarkable as this. But therein lies the rub. For all of its captivating qualities, I've yet to hit upon a captivating name. I was just on my way to take a turn about the grounds to stimulate the creative juices, so to speak, but seeing you, I realised two heads may be better than one. So what do you say? Would you care to join me in my work? Sure. Would I say work? Was it walk? One sec, I'm just taking a drink. It was walk. Excellent! You, my quick-witted familiar friend, would be a boon indeed to my imagination. Let's say you would take a quiet moment to cogitate beneath that large tree to the south of here. Bum 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 bum. Is not the sun-dappled forest floor a stunning sight? Is not the breeze so bracing as to lift the spirits? Is not the sororousness of the Milanese whiskers so pleasant as to induce great thoughts? Surely, with all the inspiration that surrounds us, you may have stirred upon contemplation too. Tell me, what is it you now focus so squarely upon? The innumerable tasks that sit waiting to be done. So even familiars have a fair share of woes. Might I suggest you take this moment to relax then? Simply let the winds wash over you, the rustle of the leaves play in your ears, and just think. For a time, all you can hear is the breeze, like a calm whisper in your ears. All of a sudden, a groan invades your peace of mind. Created to survive in extreme weather conditions, whose adaptability is second to none. What would a name suitable for such a creature? I can practically feel genius on the tip of my tongue, and yet nothing comes to... Oh bother, this won't do now, will it? I hate to ask, but would you accompany me a while longer? Come, let us away to the westerly waterfall. Look at all those quests. Still such a pretty area. Ah, listen close. Can you hear it? A waterfall whose stream is at once ferocious and tender, whose spray kisses its surroundings in an affectionate pitter-patter, inspiring indeed, and like to give rise to brilliance. Yes, there is no place more perfect for the cogitation of this creature's name. Come, stand with me and let us think on it. Oh, was I meant to actually target? Eurus 310's beady eyes appear to scan its surroundings. It is a creature that bears a strong resemblance to a plant, say perhaps Planticus. It's also a deal similar to a succulent. Aha, I've got it. Succulum. Oh, good gracious, no, that's just foul. I'm afraid I'm quite at a loss for names beyond the paltry few I've offered. Perhaps you can provide a fresh perspective. What is it you find most endearing about this creation? Its beady eyes. Oh, that did the trick. Your astute observational skills have stirred my imagination, for I've come up with a very worthy name. I must return to Poiton Oikos at once, and ensure that no other creation shares its nomenclature. You will not be too far behind, yes? You are due a suitable gift for the help you provided, after all. Are we going to find out what he's going to name it? I feel like that would be rather important to our contribution. I must say I greatly enjoyed our time together. I believe nothing cultivates creativity quite like the sharing of ideas. So often I am forced to walk alone, and though it pains me to admit this, I'm not much fun to ponder in the silence of one's company. It's not much fun to ponder in the silence of one's own company. In fact, I credit you for the name I devised. All that remains now is to go to the Peripetua Crystalline. Ensure there is no record of a similarly named creation. Appoint Euros 310 with its official name. And should I hit another metaphorical roadblock, I shall remember to always ponder while perambulating. Thank you again for the help in the matter. It was most appreciated. Not gonna give me a name then. I see how it is. Fuck you. Still no reaction. What exactly are we supposed to do now? Ah, perfect. A familiar. I'm on the observational team for a new kind of bird, and it's giving us some trouble. It won't move or react at all, no matter what anyone does to it. Could you maybe give it a try? I bet I can get a reaction. Certainly hope so, and I've got something for you if you succeed. We have a specialist in avian species working with the creation in questioning, and he can help you with the particulars. You'll find them by the towering structure northeast of our settlement here. I'm wondering if when I do the next expansion I should do a side quest as I'm going along. You were sent to help us to get this fellow's attention, yes? Then let's get you two acquainted. This here is an abyssus, so named for the way it seems to just stare off into the abyss. One of our colleagues found it perched on a million's antler and brought it in for closer study. And that's everything we know. We have no idea where it came from, who made it, or even what it really is. We'll be taking it to Catisis Hyperborea eventually, but we want to get some notes on it first, namely on how it reacts to external stimuli. The Abyssus has yet to acknowledge any of us, but maybe you can get a reaction out of it, seeing as you're a familiar. Why don't you try giving it a pet to start with? The Abyssus doesn't seem to notice you touching it and continues to stare into the distance. Nothing like some great thinker lost in a meditative trance. How about giving it a poke? Poor bird's just trying to mind its own business, and I'm like, oi! The Abyssus doesn't acknowledge your prodding. No good, I'm all out of ideas, unless you want to try giving it a hug. For a brief moment you could have sworn the Abyssus glanced at you, eyes narrowed in irritation. Still nothing, too bad really. Actually, I think it moved. What? What did it do? I can't believe I missed it. Perhaps the Abyssus only responds to signs of affection. As such, I needed to help us experiment a bit more. We'll run dozens of tests, each with a different expression of love. No? Well, I suppose you have other duties to attend to. Still, I'm thrilled we got a reaction out of him. Thank you, and please give Pericles my regards when you go to collect your rewards. Rewards? I'm coming up with new words myself, apparently. Is a reward like a reward, but it's just a reward of words? We'll never know. My associate said you were incredibly helpful. You have his thanks as well as mine. What did he think of the Abyssus? Strangely enthralling, isn't it? With those penetrating eyes that seem to stare right into your very core. It almost feels like it's studying us as much as we're studying it. I have to wonder who made it and for what purpose. I'll have to consult with Anar. If anyone would know aught of its creation, it is her. Oh, and before I forget, here is your reward for today's work. I hope she's alright. Oh, I want to go after her, but what if she comes back whilst I'm away? You must be a familiar. Can you help me deliver a message? I have an associate who works much too hard. I want to tell her to take a break and join me for a nice relaxing meal. I sent another familiar already, but it's failed to return. As an experimental entity, it is too simple to handle more than one order at a time, so it might be stuck attempting to fulfill my request. Would you mind checking on them both for me? I can give you a little something if you're willing to help out. Wonderful. Know my associate. She's probably dozing off somewhere around the trees of the north. This wouldn't happen if she'd get a good night's rest for once. You might need to give her a poke to wake her up. One, two, three, that's 8. A lot. Yeah. How long was I asleep? Ephifron sent you, just to invite me to eat. Why send a familiar for something so trivial? Although, come to think of it, I could use a meal. Please let him know I'll be along soon. Wait, are you a familiar as well? I thought you were one of us for a moment. Anyway, thank you for waking me. I suppose we'll be eating at our usual place. A nice cup of tea to start with sounds lovely. Well, do you not also need to report to Ephifron? Ephifron. Ephifron. Thank you for your help. My familiar says my associate has accepted my invitation. That is what happened, yes? Good, that means it can carry out its duties on a basic level at least. I designed it to convey ideas through information-laden aether rather than words, so I'm happy to see the communication was successful. It does seem, however, that this method is ineffective when the recipient of the message is asleep. I'll get to work on fixing that. But not now. Enjoying some time with my associate is the priority at the moment. Thank you again for the help. Excuse me, but have you a moment? I'm in search of a runaway creation and need an extra set of hands to assist in its apprehension. I have been keeping such a close watch on the thing, and it had been so well behaved, I thought I could rest my eyes for just a second. When I looked up though, poof, gone, just like that. Please won't you help me find it? I'll make it worth your while, I promise. Oh, thank you. I'll continue the search in this vicinity, though it's likely the creature scampered off further afield. While I scout the area here, might you explore the eastern end of Rumination's Ramble? Oh yes, I should probably tell you about the creature we're looking for. We call it a Byron, a seedkin that bears a passing resemblance to a moss bloom. It will wither and perish without water, or become an overgrown monstrosity with too much. Keeping it hydrated is a delicate balancing act. If a creature is falling into a river, it will be, suffice to say, too big to carry on one's own. Should you find it submerged in a body of water, try to remove as much moisture as you can. That ought to shrink it somewhat. Use this drying agent on it to drain the sodden sop. If it begins to rave at you or act in any way rampageous, subdue it and capture it with a sulfuric rope. So, drying agent, then kill, then rope. Such a dumb looking creature, I love it. Right, so is this one of the ones where it's like, oh yeah, no, you have to like do it whilst it's on low health? Yep. It's one of the ones where you have to kill it and then do it. Knowing in my neck of the woods, I'm sorry to report, did you have any luck? You found it, and just as I suspected, thrashing about in Rumination's Ramble. Naughty thing. So, you had to subdue it, I take it. Goodness, it certainly put you through the mill. At least you do not seem too badly wounded, and nor does it. The Byron has the remarkable ability to predict precipitation and rainfall. If you see it shaking its leaves, you know the rain's on its way. It's why we created it in the first place, to provide those in the wetlands a method by which they might prepare for sudden storms. Unfortunately, as we discovered, it becomes absolutely enormous when exposed to a liquid in large quantities, rendering them rather dangerous in humid areas. Oh well, back to the drawing board. At any rate, thank you for locating this little rascal, or rather large rascal, as the case may be. I know not whose familiar you are, but you were a tremendous help. Here for your pains. You there, please, it is most urgent. A colleague of mine in Philomyph's Notos has just sent word of a most disturbing nature. A blue charadibus was practicing its flying, but became separated from its fellows. From what I gathered, based on my friend's manic message, it was last seen taking wing to Perpetua Crystalline. We are all of us searching far and wide, but could you look in the direction of Perpetua Crystalline? Your help would not go unrewarded, I can assure you of that. Oh, thank you. Between us, we ought to be able to locate this lost creature. You should know that the Chardibuses have a penchant for heights, so while we scan the skies around here, I leave the upper floors of Perpetua Crystalline to you. If you do happen to find the creature I spoke of, use a sulfuric rope to bind it. Ah, not to worry, the bindings cause no injury or pain. Good luck, and I shall see you soon. A lot of etheric rope stuff. Right, so that says down. There's no sign of the Chardibus. Where is this gate? Can I? Do I have to go to this one? I mean, I could fly up, I'm just trying to see if there's a faster way up by doing this. The Charlibus is nowhere to be seen. Now that you captured the injured Charlibus, return to Point Argos and deliver your wind captive to the Frazzled researcher. Now this time I can just fly down. I really love the architecture of this place. Holy fuck, there's still a ton of quests to go. I saw that you were on your way back and hastened to return as well, so what news have you found the blue Charlibus? Oh, a great relief indeed. It's rather impressive it hasn't suffered any truly grievous injuries, and more impressive still that it was able to fly as far as Perpetua Crystalline. It has only begun to practice the art of flight recently, as I understand it. Who would have thought it could cross such a distance with wings still so inexperienced? No doubt credit for this ought to go to Emmett Selk and his helpful instruction. Well, I, for one, cannot wait to see the Charlibus take to the skies from its perch. At any rate, I will see this creature return to Anagonorisis at once. I fucking hate that word. Though it isn't much, considering the services you've rendered, I hope it's not too lowly a prize for you. You must be Asm's familiar. I had a favour to ask of the observers here, but seeing as they all seem awfully preoccupied, perhaps I can ask you instead. I'm experimenting with crossbreeding different types of plants. I was thrilled when I finally produced a whole new species, right up until the point where they rose up and floated away. Last I saw them, they were headed towards the eastern side of the island. I managed to wrangle a goodly number, but there are still 8 or so missing. Can you help me recapture them? Thank you. Here, use this etheric rope to capture, say, 4 of them, and I can hopefully handle the rest. This place is obsessed with etheric rope. It's a very interesting looking creature. Where's the other one? Eh? Oh. I think the skeleton model is the same one as the Aurelia from, like, early levels. Can I fucking land? There we go. Don't know why that has been so awkward. Did you catch the plants? Thank goodness for that, though I'd expect no less from Asm's familiar. I rounded up my half as well, which means they're all back safe and sound. They're part Yggdrant, you see. It's no surprise they inherited the eyes, but having them wander off on their own was rather unexpected. To tell the truth, I never really had a specific use in mind for them. I suppose I'd best start thinking about that. The Biovic architect won't be impressed with my new creation unless it serves a purpose. With that in mind, I believe there's research to be done. Thank you for your help, and do pass on my regards to Asm. You're familiar, aren't you? Have you any prowess in battle? Good, I could use your help with something. You see, I was asked to assess a one-eyed giant created as a facility guard, and so pitted against Lotus to test its fighting skills. Not only did the giant fall to a single blow, the Lotus went into a frenzy and escaped. In my opinion, compact familiars like you are far more effective than these overly large brutes, and this is my chance to prove it. Do you think you can handle our runaway combatant? So long as there's someone getting it for me. Of course, you'll be well rewarded for your efforts. Our experiment was conducted to the east, so that's as good a place as any to start looking for the Lotus. It would seem the escaped Lotus came back of its own accord. They usually feed off their foes and revitalise themselves, and I imagine it hungers after running amok like that. I'll take care of the situation here, the Lotus is all yours. Dead is what this is. I love the ones where it's just kills something because I destroy it. You certainly made quick work of that Lotus. I had a feeling I could count on you. As for the giant, it is far too heavy for us to move. I'll arrange for some broad-backed creations to haul it away after we return to Poiton Oikos. Thought that Minotaur was going to get cocky. Cocky! As I suspected, a smaller, more agile concept has far more facility for adapting to combat situations. Thank you for proving my theory. I'll be sure to keep your performance in mind the next time I design a familiar. Your reward, as promised. Probably take a loan from this. You're familiar, aren't you? Perfect timing. A pair of researchers are scheduled to arrive today from Amarot, and I need you to collect their concepts from them. We've completed assessments for their creations, you see, and must make preparations to officially register the designs with the Bureau of the Architect. Please make sure to also ask for any provisional names that they might have for their works. I was expecting it to basically have me go all the way back to the fucking original area. Can I help you? Of course, you wish to collect my concept. It's this creature I have with me. It doesn't have a proper name as such. From what I hear, the observers have been calling it Notos 642, a nod to the island it resides on. Right, well I trust you'll put this in Malagros' hands. I didn't have the power to just do that, to just be like, poof! And create something. And who might you be? Ah, you're here for my concept. Well, here it is in the flesh. I call it the stone mole. It secretes a fluid that eats through solid rock, giving it the ability to burrow into even hardest terrain. It can also toughen its skin by ingesting the rock it has liquefied. Based upon these traits, I humbly request it be given a good, strong name. You bought the concepts I asked for. Very good. And did you ask for the provisional names? The Stone Mole and Notos 642. And the mole's creator requested that it have a powerful design name. Some researchers do become quite attached to their creations, don't they? It may seem inconsequential, but the appropriate naming of concepts is of the utmost importance. Allow me to explain. Once it has been determined that a creation is beneficial to the star, we can proceed with registering the creator's design with the Bureau of the Architect. First, however, the approved concepts must first receive their official names, and as a taxonomist, it is my task to bestow them. When naming, one must strive for elegance and simplicity, all the while taking care to adhere to existing conventions and avoid repetition. The more creations we name, the more difficult it becomes to maintain this high standard. It is a demanding job, to be certain, but one which I am proud to do, for as long as this purpose guides me, I will fill the world with the most marvellous appellations I can imagine. Please take this in exchange for completing your errand. Perfect timing, Familiar. I have a favour to ask you. It's my job to name the creations brought to us, but I can't seem to decide on one for this particular concept. Maybe because I'm the one who designed it. It's a species of plant which I intended as a gift for my love. A clear conflict of interests, unfortunately. My names are always fair and logical, and perfectly suited to the creation, but this time I'm not so sure. I do have a name for it, but what if it's not suitable? What if it's too personal? I thought of discussing the matter with my associates, but my dilemma is far too embarrassing. Would you ask if they think the name is appropriate in my stead? Don't worry, I wouldn't expect you to work without recompense. This is the creation, a yellow pansy, and the name I have in mind is Mythos. Do I get to see the creation? Oh, has he quite literally created flowers? I thought it was like a creature. I thought so. Familiar, do you need something? Dude, I literally did a... I hate that they don't reference when you've done a job for them. A flower, it's beautiful and it smells so lovely. Is it for me? Oh, you just want to know if a name is suitable to you? Have you tried asking at Catissus Hyperborea? No one knows as much about naming as them. Here's a guidebook on the subject. Take it with you and let your master decide what to do from there. Why has it been an ass, Gara? It's working fine for me. Yes, what is it? My, what a pretty flower, and you said it was called Mythos. A fine name. Many flowers are named with a special feeling in mind, so going by what you've told me, this one's in good company. Hey. Buffering, but it's working now. Reset my interwebs. Ah, okay. How did it go? What did everyone think of a name? I see. Well, that is good to know. I won't be needing this guidebook, of course, as I can't very well ask myself for my thoughts. Or perhaps I should. It wouldn't hurt to have some confidence in the work I do, after all. As I created this flower, I thought of my beloved, an artist, and the stories she seeks to tell through her plays. My hope is that, much like a myth or legend, her work is told and retold down through the ages, hence Mythos. I've decided I'll keep the name and submit it to the Bureau of the Architect. Thank you for your help. I don't like that this, from on my map, looked like there was just one quest. Those are some low levels of aether you have there, even for Familiar. That must be awfully inconvenient. What say you assist me with an experiment that could help increase your reserves? I need one more ingredient before I can get started. If you could get your hands on a bit of slime from an eidos in the forest, that would be of great help. They use illusory magics to mimic the shape of nearby creatures, so it'll be tricky to find one, but not impossible. Keep your eyes peeled for anything acting out of place. Once you think you've located an eidos, use this crystallized concept to dispel the illusion. It should then be a relatively simple task to defeat the creature and obtain a nice helpful handful of gunk. Oh, but be warned, if you use the crystal and anything else, it tends to react violently. Should you make a mistake, there's no shame in beating a hasty retreat. Don't know how this one's suspicious. Yeah. Bring it. Hey there. Dead. Hey Mirror, welcome to stream. Another Pegasus. Gloop. Hey. I wish it would have been like more clear, like which ones were not being thingy, so you could actually like try like suss out which one was actually the right one. Ow, I really hurt my head doing that. Back so soon and with the slime, I hope. If only every familiar were as useful as you. With this, I can make a potion to increase your aether production. All the other ingredients are in order. Hippogriff brain, a monoceros horn, and Ophion entrails. The concoction will supplement any natural deficiencies, relying on the chameleonic properties of the slime to generate aether compatible with your existing aetherical signature. Clever, yes? Once this is brewed for a bit, it will be ready to drink. Oh, this is so exciting, I can hardly wait to see just how explosive the increase of your aether will be. I think I hear my master calling. Oh, I meant to be of service, but it seems I've kept you from your other duties instead. My deepest apologies. As you can come back for the potion, but in the meantime, take this for your troubles. A rather unusual familiar, aren't you? I haven't seen your concept on file at the Bureau of the Architect, and I've never come across anything like you in all my years of research. Your Adam's familiar? Well, that certainly explains it. Her creations are truly something else. I'm even more intrigued now. Would you mind if I observed you for a time? I'll make it worth your while, of course. Fantastic, I can hardly wait to get started, but not here. The study I'd like to conduct requires we relocate to the Westerways. Please, come and join me whenever you're ready. Almost clean. Almost clean. Thank you so much for coming. Now let's get straight to business. All you need to do is reach out and touch some Orpheus songflowers. They're pretty blooms, light blue in colour, and they emit these, well, bubbles, which enthrall any overly curious creatures. Think of it as a defensive mechanism. It has no effect on sapient beings such as myself, but I'm fascinated to know how it will affect you. Fear not, I will be sure to intervene should you begin to fall under its spell. I would never leave a familiar to such a fate, and especially not a familiar created by Azim. Now I've created 3 flowers of varying sizes and potencies. We'll begin with the smallest and weakest. Oh, I may be able to protect you from the flower itself, but if any nearby beasts are already under its influence, I'm afraid you'll have to be the one to protect me. Fighting was never my forte. So I have a... escort quest. Great. Keep up, slow ass. Excuse me. You touched the flower, it didn't seem to affect you. No reaction. Interesting. Let's try a more powerful one, shall we? Oy, Dios. Get lost. Right, you know what? Yeah, fucking come on then. You're all going to attack me anyway. Come on. Bring it on. And now I become deaf. That's what I thought. Fuck off. And dead. You touch a flower, you don't feel any different. Still nothing. Well, let's see how you fare against an exceptionally large one. Can you actually mount with this fucker following you? Yes, but he still gets slowed behind. Oh. Why? That's what I thought. You touch the flower, nothing happens. Incredible, even a flower this size has no effect on you whatsoever. I thought for sure you would be enthralled. Considering the sparse nature of your aether, it simply doesn't make sense. Azim must possess some mastery which eludes me. In any case, that ends our experiment. I'll dissolve these blooms and meet you back at Poiton Oikos. How many are left then? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 quests, of which one I think might be a storyline. But I don't know. Thank you for lending me your time. It was most enlightening. Not to mention perplexing. You have so little aether, yet something keeps you resistant to outside influence. Your physical constitution, perhaps. It's something to consider when creating familiars in the future, at least. I promised you a reward, didn't I? Here you go. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have some data analysis and concept planning to do. We'll start with the bottom and go left to right. Left to right. Left to down to right. Yeah, I know what I'm on about. What a sight! An Amapelos sneezed and sent tufts of cloud, mollo, flying every which way. But while highly amusing, I'll never be able to gather them all up alone, unless you're willing to lend a hand. Thank you so much. Let's split up and start looking for them. Be on the lookout for fluffy white plants floating around Poiton Oikos, and bring any you find back here. Oh, I meant to do that quest first. Whoopsie. I really like the look of these plants. Like, I know they're just basically dandelions, but they're still cool. Slow flower collecting picking time. Thought that was an enemy mobile then. I was getting ready for a fight. Did you find any of the plants? Yes, I did. Perfect, it's such a relief to have them back. A somewhat amateur creator invented a concept to bring more life into the clouds, which is all well and good, but they get blown away far too easily. It would be nice if they were a bit more wind resistant. We need to know where you can settle in place without fear of them flying off because some beast breathed on them too hard. Well, I'd better put them back where they belong before light breathes and does all your hard work. Here, take this as a thanks for your help. Greetings, I'm a researcher from the words of Metron. I've dedicated my life to studying and creating aquatic life, but my main focus is the development of new shark species. My latest creation has completed its round of observation at Anagonorisis, and will be released after one final test. The thing is, I'm hoping to consult with the taxonomist before the Bureau of Architect hands down its official registration. The same one who named my last shark. if I can. Spoidradios was such a marvellous name. Turns out it's rather difficult to track down a specific person in a place such as this. Could you help me? Thank you. Here, take this. It's a model of a previous creation I just mentioned. Whoever named it should hopefully be able to recognise it. What have we here? A roaming familiar? Ah yes, the Spoidradios. I've heard of it before, but I'm afraid I don't know who named it. My guess is it's going to be this last fucker. Was there something I could help you with? Who named this species? I'm sorry, but I haven't a clue. Certainly not me. What's that you have there? Oh, it's Spoidradios. Of course I know it. I named it after all. Its creator was calling it a Cladoshle. Cladoshle. But I decided to go with something more closely tied to its distinctive way of moving. I wanted to really capture the image of it rushing forward with its tiny steps, somehow swift and slow at once. In case you were curious, the name comes from the proverb, meaning more haste, less speed. And if a creator wishes me to name her newest creation, I would of course be honored to do so. It's in Anagonoresis, you say? I look forward to seeing it soon. Any luck finding my taxonomist? You found him, and he's willing to give a new one a name too. That is wonderful news. This latest creation is actually a direct improvement over the last. I gave it more legs for a total of 8, so it can move even more quickly over land. With that taken care of, I need to hurry back to Anagonoresis. But before I go, here, taking of my gratitude. That word has been the bane of my day. Would you assist me, familiar? As I'm sure you're aware, the floating islands of Elpis were created to provide suitable habitats for our various creations. In order to maintain their respective environments, however, surveyors such as myself must make regular assessment on their ethereal composition. To that end, I was planning to take samples from the Melonian habitat with my partner, but it seems he had an urgent engagement. Something about an unscheduled meeting with a member of a convocation of 14. Though I'm now faced with handling this rather grueling task alone, waiting until he returns is simply not an option. As I said, it's important to gather data at regular, specific intervals. And thus am I requesting your help, so what say you? Would you be willing to accompany me in place of my partner? Certainly. Many thanks, I'll be sure to reward you for your efforts. Right, let's hurry along. Then, we'll need to make our way to the south. Sometimes I wonder how I read and miss out a whole word. Magic. I need to drink. My throat is... Oh! Cheers, Gara! I don't know how long since you put that there. You probably should have sent a message to alert me, but I need to drink anyway, so cheers for your redemption. I could feel my throat drying up. The rocks. Yeah, see, you got a message with it, because otherwise I don't... The way PlayStation alerts me is if you notice in my corner every now and again, it comes up with a little, like, thing where it's, like, live, and then it's about to do it on my stream, so I can actually say what it's saying. But it basically says, like, live, and then it's red, and then it has, like, a little... two sets of numbers. One is how many people are watching, and the other one is how many messages there have been. And that's my way of knowing when someone's implementing me something. But for some reason, it doesn't tell me when people have done redemptions. So, yeah, it says on air with a red dot, and then it says how many people are you taking the piss. But yeah, so in future, if you hydrate me, message me as well. Go away. The rocks in this area contain ores that can tell us about the environmental aether. We'll have to break them apart with destructive magics to collect the necessary samples. You may find it difficult with your inherent limitations, but I have a little something to help with that. Here, use this concept crystal to shatter an outcrop rock and bring any ore fragments back to me. Start in the east if you would. I'll start working elsewhere and we can meet back here. Boom. Best way to mine is throw dynamite at a wall, sure. Somehow he didn't think so. How do you fare? How did you fare? Excellent, this should give me all the information I need. Let's head back, shall we? Dun 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 dun. Whichever one of these is a quest line is the one I'm going to do last, so if we get to it I'm going to walk past it. Thank you, without your aid I wouldn't have been able to properly observe how the introduction of Melani has affected their habitat's aether. It's important to keep careful tracks of the environments here to make any necessary adjustments. The terrain, the flora, everything that makes up the habitat must be meticulously controlled to fit each subject under observation. Though I applaud my partner's enthusiasm for learning at the foot of a convocation member, we cannot neglect these fundamental, albeit tedious, facets of our work. That's the fucking questline one. Oh dear, I'm starting to worry some. It's my colleague, you see. We heard this horrid screech from a Melanion, and he went rushing off to check what all the fuss was about. I was thinking of following after him, but, well, just look at me. You, however, appear to be well versed in combat and all such sanguinary escapades. Perhaps you might see if aught is amiss and ensure my co-worker hasn't come to any harm. It's very kind of you to agree to such a request. The last I saw of him, he was racing for the southern end of Calameos Zephyros. Do promise to hurry? I'm half afraid he has wound up on the wrong side of some nasty fiend's fangs. Alright, so that one was the last one that we want to do, so we'll do that one, then that one, then that one, then that one. Boom. You saw what you saw. Oh, look at the little bunny. And death time. That was much too close for my liking. Your timing was truly immaculate. I was quite trapped and would have been gobbled up if not for your timely interference. It was the agitated cries of a Melanion which brought me here. When I had arrived to see what inspired such howling, I discovered this fellow being set upon by that raging creature. I didn't hesitate to insert myself into the fray, of course. I should be fine, but it's the familiar for whom I'm most concerned. Could you make sure it's unharmed? Sniff, squeak. The familiar appears free of injuries, scrapes or bruises, and has left behind a dazzling carrot as if to say thank you. Deliver the carrot to the long-haired observer. A relief to know that they're not too severely injured. Oh my, what is that? You say the creature left it behind? A striking colour for a carrot, wouldn't you say? Perhaps this was its way of showing its gratitude. What a thoughtful creature. And one I've never seen before. Whose familiar could it be, I wonder? I will perform an investigation upon my return. Now then, shall we head back to Point and Oikos? I am in rather sorry state, and I would like to get cleaned up as soon as possible. Can you imagine being gored by those horns? At some point it's less about like a goring faction and more about just blunt force. How very good it is to see you again, my friend. The one whom you plucked from the jaws of death itself is seeking treatment for his wounds as we speak. I heard the entire tale, how a rabbit familiar was on the scene. Mistress Vanar was said to be researching one such familiar. Well, that's the story anyway. Perhaps the one you came across is related to that business. Well, regardless of its origins, it sounded like a rather polite creature, as I was told it left behind a sort of gift. Yet I shan't be outdone by a bunny, charming though it surely is. Here you are, a present. It's nothing special, though I hope it proves as scrumptious as the carrot our mysterious familiar bestowed upon you and my colleague. May I ask a favour? A colleague of mine, but from the Thalassi, is overdue to make his report, and I need someone to give him a gentle nudge. He's currently over at Rumination's Ramble, observing some life forms newly hatched from one of our creations, but I'm afraid I'll scuba data if I show up and startle them. A familiar like you, however, should cause much less of a disruption. Would you be so kind? A familiar, can I help you with something? Oh, time to head back, is it? I was enraptured watching these young ones frolic that I lost track of time. Come, come everyone, we really must be going. Russell. Still want to play, do you? I guess we shall have to appeal to your bellies then. Would you try feeding them? They've become more compliant after eating some of these treats. And they're so adorable when they nibble. Adorable. They are so adorable. Russell? Russell, Russell. Russell? Russell, Russell. Russell. What a surprise. Russell, Russell. And let me guess, Russell. Yeah. And let me guess, Russell, Russell. Yeah. Look at that, I'm psychic. My dress is getting wet. Isn't it fun watching them romp around? And they really seem to like you. Do you work with young ones often? These babies are aquatic creatures by nature, but we're modifying them to adapt to life on land. They mostly eat marine insects and shellfish, and some of the larger carnivores feed off them in turn. They also carry their eggs on their backs until they're ready to hatch. Fascinating, aren't they? Oh, but that's not why you're here, is it? I really must head back. We are so close to being done with this area. If you hadn't been sent to fetch me, I might have been out there for days. In any case, it's only a matter of time before our creations are approved for release into the wild. I wonder what name they'll receive. Thank you for all your help today. Here is thanks. Should you choose to undertake this quest, know that guidance... Oh no! Can you spare them a moment, familiar? I'd like to gauge my own familiar's capabilities against yours. Thedis one's big blue eyes have especially sensitive to ethereal emissions. As part of my testing, I propose a race between the two of you. I've imbued a Gamellia bloom with a unique trace of Aether. Whoever finds it first is a winner. I suppose it won't be much of a contest unless you can see the Aether as well, so I'll lend you a crystal which will allow you to detect its presence. If a flower is nearby when you use it, the crystal will emit a brilliant light. The further you are from the prize, the less dazzling the sky will be. Let me know if you require further instruction and I'll let the competition begin. Ah, fucking hate life. So, that way. No. That way? Why are these quests? I blame you for this, Gary. You like seeing me suffer. Got it. This looks to be the right flower. Bring it back to her in there. You right. You right. You right. You right. That was certainly quick. Did you find the bloom already? Incredible, I've never seen such a talented familiar. Speaking of which, mine seems to have been distracted. I suppose it's only natural, considering its feline traits, but it honestly seems more like a pet than a proper familiar at times. Well then, I believe you deserve a reward for your victory, and for your assistance with my testing. Please be sure to convey my gratitude to your master as well. Aren't you a sweet-looking familiar? Tell me, to whom do you belong? I need to sneeze, give me a second. I hate when you get one of those second ones that aren't. Oh, you're a Zims, are you? She's a goodly sort, wouldn't you say? Always appearing in times of trouble to extend a hand to those in need. And given that I am one such, I'm sure she wouldn't mind if I borrowed you for a bit. A lengthy debate was held in... One sec, I just want to watch myself quickly. I'm not much of a narcissist. A lengthy debate was held in Catissus Hyperborea regarding the evaluation of creations. Meticulous minutes were taken during said forum, which I would like you to fetch for me. A dear friend in Amara asked for them, you see, and I plain forgot all about it. Now, if you would be so kind, I was just making sure I had my mic unmuted, I would send word to the scrivener in charge and ask them to await your coming in front of Perpetua Crystalline, where the documents have been held. Once you've the notes, return to me here. I would like to know how we can send word faster than you can go and grab them. At that point, why didn't you just get the thing that sent word to grab them? You're the familiar then. Very good. Here are the records of the forum. Careful now, it's a sizable stack of volumes. Try not to drop any on your way back. Oh. I am a runner now. I'm glad taking damage doesn't cancel the quest out. That would be really annoying. What a difficult quest. These are the documents I requested. My word, they must have been terribly heavy. Not really. The friend I spoke of was involved in the operation of Nemesis Anida, a facility which houses myriad concepts, cogitations, and ideas. He felt that certain procedures, especially the ones concerning living creations, were lacking in information. Thus he sought detailed records on he might fill in the blanks, so to speak. I believe you're owed a little reward for your help. I'll think over what to offer you while I pack my belongings for the journey ahead of me. Come see me at the entrance to Poison Oakos. I'm sure I'll have made up my mind by then. There you are. I've finished my packing. As it so happens, I've hit upon the commensurate gift. My favourite food, and freshly made too. Try it, I'm sure you'll love it. Farewell, familiar. Give my regards to Azim. Getting a lot of food from here. Right. One quest, which is a quest line, so we'll see how long this takes. This episode wasn't nearly as long as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to take a few more hours. Thank you for agreeing to accompany us, shall we? Certainly. Now, what was the name of your creation again? The Batrachoi, a delightfully roly-poly pudding of a thing. Ah yes, the one over at Rumination's Ramble. My brother, Alkios, is in charge of tending to it. Right this way, if you please. Somehow I don't think these quests are going to connect like they usually do. It'll be interesting if they do, though. You must be Shulk. Myra has told me so much about you in an impressively short span of time. As you have likely already deduced, I am a brother, Alkios. And you are Cleon, yes? The architect of this Batrachoi, as you call them. Yes, I am. You think them ready for release? I would so love to see their endearing rotund forms bouncing around free in the wild. I've completed my report for the main evaluation criteria. The final decision will be made after the committee discusses the results. But based on my personal observations, no, they are not ready. No? And might I ask why? Shulk, would you be so kind as to give this Batrachoi a solid poke? The creature's lack of familiarity with you will help prove my point. Is it going to attack me? His face. You see, no response to external stimuli. The creature is far too placid. What was the concept behind the Batrachoi? A defender of water resources? In its current incarnation, it has neither the instincts nor the means to defend itself, much less fend off entities intent upon fouling the waterways. I cannot in good conscience certify a subject so poorly equipped to carry out its intended purpose. In fact, I suggest you redesign your concept entirely. Thank you for your candor. Candor? Candor. And I was so invested in this darling ball of pudgy flesh. Such a pity. Shulk, as Azim's familiar, you must have seen your fair share of the world and its inhabitants. Without altering its physical form, what do you think the Batrachoi could do to become a more effective guardian? Could use its tongue to grapple opponents. Brilliant, what an innovative mind you have, Shulk. Yes, it may suffice. The introduction of an effective offensive measure could very well tip the scales towards a favourable judgment. Truly, then I shall modify my concept at once. May I bind this one and take him home with me. Once I've finished making the necessary adjustments, I'll resubmit my request for observation and evaluation. Of course, you are free to do as you wish. I will make a note of it in my logs. Just noticed the head of my keyblade right there. Fuck. Thank you for your creative assistance, Shulk. I knew bringing you along would be a good idea. Why, I almost wish I could have you as my own familiar. It's a shame Azim hasn't published your concept for the world to see, but seeing as you're here now, would you mind lending me your talents a while longer? There's one other creation of mine that I feel may benefit from your unique perspective. You've chosen to stay then? Wonderful. I realise we've only just met, but I feel such a bond with you, Shulk. There's one more concept I need to finalise, and I can think of no other entity I would rather have at my side during these ever so worrisome evaluations. You have my IO somewhere nearby, don't you? Alkios? Yes, Myra keeps that one under her watchful eye, but I know the spot where it usually roams. Come along, we need to cross the stream here. I love how they walk that way, but it's this way. How odd, this is usually where it spends a greater part of its day. Yeah, she never strays far from this spot. Perhaps the scent of unfamiliar visitors has made her wary. Let's fit up and try find her, her being a shaggy four-legged beast with rather majestic horns. Is this going to be the sheep? No. That was not at all what I was expecting. You find a shaggy four-legged beast and the horns really are rather majestic. This must be the IO. IO! Oh, there she is, the naughty thing. Nicely tracked, Shulk. Hello, my lovely. Come to Myra now. Well, would you look at that? I think she's taken a liking to you, Shulk. And I see that Cleon has a liking for stout and stocky designs. Yes, the heftier the better. The IO is truly one of my favourites. Round and robust and bristling with spiky protrusions. A truly powerful beast. I envisioned her dominating any habitat she entered. What do you think? Ah, she's certainly an imposing specimen. Its physical strength is readily apparent, yes, but more than muscle is needed to dominate a territory. The creature's field of vision is obscured by that mass of wiry hair and curling horns, preventing effective use of its natural weaponry. In the wild, being unable to hunt and catch prey in a consistent manner culminates in a slow death by starvation. It is our recommendation that you redesign the AO as a grass grazer and resubmit the concept as a candidate for livestock. Unsurprisingly, the IO here is susceptible to nutritional deficiencies, and we must administer regular ethereal supplements. As you appear to have gained its trust, would you mind doing the honours? You needn't convince it of eating anything, simply slash the creature with this solution. Lob this on the creature. The ethereal supplement is absorbed into Aya's body. Thank you for tending to my creation, Shulk. My IO would likely thrive as a livestock animal, but I did so dearly want her to become an apex predator. Oh, maybe there's still hope. You have an eye for these things. Could you offer any more of your insightful suggestions? Please, Shulk, I have need of your worldly experience. My IO, my darling, hulking IO, she was meant for far more than grazing in the fields. Will you look over her and tell me what must be done? How can I transform her from potential livestock to apex predator? Upon closer inspection, you can't shake the feeling that you've fought similar beasts before. Search for magnificent horns, rendered all but useless by the creature's poor field of vision. My poor ability to use the English language. The eye's monstrous claws seem capable of tearing a man limb from limb. Even the IO's limited vision, one swing of its muscular tail would be enough to shatter bones, but for true dominance, the beast will need something more, something overwhelming. What say you? How can we enhance the deadliness of my creation? An apex predator wield apex magic, something like Meteor, for example. Yes, deceptively simple, but devastatingly effective. I can already picture it. Akios, Myra, will you permit me to implement some new ideas? Shulk has given me much to think about. Strictly speaking, any significant adjustments should be authorized by the Bureau of Architect, but I think we can allow some temporary modifications for the purpose of experimentation. What are you laughing at, Gara? That sounds more than fair. Thank you. If you could spare a few more moments, I shall take my creation and return with a new and improved IO. Oh, wait. Ah. Yeah, don't worry, I was thinking of you the whole time I was saying that. This guy wants his creature to be playing ranked. Idiot. Cleon has been gone for far more than a few moments. How extensive could these changes of his possibly be? It is done. Cleon, you've certainly been busy, haven't you? Shulk's advice began the process, and then it became difficult to stop. After pruning back the horns and hair, I reinforced the talons, then moved on to arcane abilities. She can now cast Meteor, as well as Chardabidis. Surely now my eye stands at the pinnacle of predators. In all my time as an observer, I have seen many a creation, but this concept ranks in the highest echelons. The strength inherent in your IO is more than sufficient to ensure its domination. Wonderful, and I shall submit my refinements to the Bureau at once, but I think perhaps this new incarnation requires a new name. And I know just the familiar to bestow it. Shulk, have you a fitting title for this glorious creature? Queen Behemoth. Ah, perfect. So it shall be known, at least for now. I still need to submit the official registration, and now the time has come for me to return to Amarot. I've decided that my next creation will be more of a companion, a pet if you will, suitable for the amusement of children and very clever familiars. Thank you all again for this most productive visit. I hope I might impose upon you again soon. We always enjoy hosting visitors with such enthusiasm for their work. Yes, and we very much look forward to observing your future concepts. Well, brother, Shulk, shall we head back to Poiton Oikos? Hey, Slendy, where have you been for 3 hours? Company downstairs. Ah, okay. Well, will you do me a favour and grab this VOD once I'm done with the stream? What a wonderful help you were with our visitor, Shulk. Even for a familiar of SM, I cannot help but be impressed by your intelligence and unique sense of creativity. I wholeheartedly agree. Your intervention salvaged some promising but unfortunately flawed creations. You have our gratitude for providing us with such a fascinating experience. Oh, Alkios, must you always be so formal? Although he has a trouble with expressing it, I assure you my brother is almost giddy with joy. Thank you again, Shulk. While I'm sure your duties as a familiar keep you occupied, we would very much welcome another chance to share your company. Is there a joint quest? There is a joint quest. Tell me, Shulk, have you seen much of Anagonorisis? I didn't actually think there would be a joint quest, so I'm kind of happy about Oh, so you've met Overseer Soklas then. He sent my brother a request for aid, and we were just on our way to render our assistance. You're welcome to come along if you like. You may be interested to witness the duty which lies ahead. Come along, we mustn't keep the Overseer waiting. I hate that my fucking mouse is... Is it my mouse? No, the map's moving. Alkios, Mayara, and Shulk as well. Welcome all of you. A summons from you can only mean one thing. There's been an incident? Yes, the Lycons went into a frenzy, and more than a few of our observational projects were prematurely ended. We began the sending rites, of course, but the task is burdensome. Burdensome for so few. Thus did I hope to secure your particular expertise. Oh, you wouldn't be aware of the practice, would you, Shulk? Here in Elpis, we expedite the ethereal dissipation of the decreased by employing time magics. The decay of the corporeal remains is accelerated and absorbed back into the ground upon which we stand. As you may have guessed, the manipulation of time is Alkios' specialty. Whenever some unexpected event results in the mass loss of creations, it is him to whom they turn. That we do. Nevertheless, I do regret tearing you away from your important work. We've prepared a site to the southwest, so if you'll follow me, we can put this unpleasant business behind us in short order. Interesting to note that there is time magic predating Alexander. That is actually really important information. That I wouldn't know if I didn't do side quests, and that's why I do side quests. It doesn't affect me in any way. I still don't have time mage as a job, but it is interesting to note. This is the occupants which fell victim to the Lycons. They were still being evaluated, yes, the poor things. They barely had a chance to fulfill our design. Their flesh and bones will return to the land. We will ensure that their existence was not in vain. Seeing life taken mid-purpose can be distressing. Have you witnessed such events before, Shulk? Tell me, how do you express yourself at these times? With an offering of Nimia lilies. Nimia lilies? A beautiful name for a flower, but not one I've heard of. I wonder if it was recently registered. And you offer these lilies to the fallen. Interesting. We do have a custom of gifting flowers to those we love and admire, so I suppose this is not so different. Perhaps I can prepare some Perhaps I can prepare some blooms to take the place of the ones you mentioned. Come with me, Shulk. You can help me gather something suitable. Why don't we use the Elpis flower? Story relevant quotes. Here, I've made some flowers of our own. Even those fashioned directly of Aphis tend to sprout with more life and colour when you grow them in the soil. Pick yourself a handful and we'll take them back to the Overseer. Green away. Green away. Oh. Green eyes. And back to Soklas. That wind sound is good. Myra's creations are acceptable, I trust. My apologies, I may have gone a little carried away with these flowers. No, at all, Myra, your effort is much appreciated. Alkios, if you would be so kind. Show him using the time magic. Vessels within which life once flowed, cheated of purpose, stilled and cold, unto the land you now return, the fuel upon which new life shall burn. Hey, we got to see some magic at least. What are you parking at, Slandy? That was a beautiful service. I like to think it brought some joy to their departed souls, much as one feels when receiving a thoughtful gift. Yes, the flowers were the perfect addition. How fortunate we are to have this knowledgeable familiar in our midst. We must return and commit this event to parchment. While it remains fresh in our minds, a potential shift in our traditions is a historical moment worth recording. Thank you again, Alkios. We are ever grateful for your calming presence. And our thanks to you, Myra and Shulk, not only for attending, but also elevating the proceedings. Yes, you've contributed more than enough. Allow us to take care of the tedious administrative details. We hope to see you again, Shulk. We hope to see you again soon, Shulk, in fact. It is time we headed back ourselves, dear sister. As you say, please, Shulk, join us back at Point in Oikos. And I believe that will be the end of the stream. Not now, but when I've handed it in. So points of topic for talk. Tomorrow, Ultima Full theme. Ultima Full theme? Ultima Full stream? If my brain even wants to work. And we will finish the Stories of the Realm series. I shall be debating on what to... It won't be the end of me doing Final Fantasy content. Don't for a second think that. It might be a small break, but 6.2 is coming along, which means story, raiding, which I've got to get a static for yet, but I'm hoping to have that sorted sooner rather than later. Stuff like that in general. We will see what happens. No, I am definitely not going back to WoW. What a fortuitous turn of events that you were present when we received the summons to Anagnorisis. As time marches on, we encounter fewer and fewer of these truly new experiences. Yet ever since you appeared, it's been one surprise after another. I suppose we should expect nothing less from one of Azim's creations. And now we have these precious new ideas and perspectives to apply to our duties moving forward. Speaking of which, we really must be returned to our work. Be well, Shulk, and thank you. May your purposes, or simply our paths, align again in the future. I'm most certainly not playing WoW. Right, well that is every quest in Elpis done. So, as I say, Ultima Full tomorrow. We will continue with the Stories of the Realm series. I will probably talk more about what I plan to do after that stream. So that will be for tomorrow. So Stories of the Realm and talking about what I plan to do on the channel after. So please tune in for that if you're actually interested in the channel. If you haven't already and you are currently watching, please follow the channel. If you're watching on YouTube, I haven't said this in forever, but please go over to our Twitch and give us a follow there. That's where I do all my streams, etc, etc. We have a Discord. Gara's already done that. Thank you, Gara. But thank you everyone who is watching. I hope you all have a great evening, and I hope you're back with me tomorrow for more Stories of the Realm, the final episode of this entire expansion. You won't have another Stories of the Realm for 2 years, remember that. That's how long an expansion is. So, well, year and a half probably at this point, maybe a year, just over a half. Year and two-thirds of a year, maybe. But anyway, have a good day all, and I'll see you in my next video.